Shana Tova. I'd like to thank Rabbi Minkus for the opportunity to study with Bob Shannon and Stephen Erlbacher and himself, and to prepare for the unpreparable in this way. So you've already heard last night a bit of some other people talking about the text that I'm going to be talking about today. But hopefully there's still something new in what I'm going to say. Rabbi Minkus asked us to get personal in our remarks. So I'm going to be getting personal in a way that feels a little uncomfortable for me, but vulnerability is one of the themes of the day. So away we go. Mishnah Yoma 8:9 tells us transgressions that are between a person and the omnipresent, Yom Kippur affects atonement. For transgressions that are between a person and their fellow, Yom Kippur does not affect atonement until they have appeased their fellow. What does it mean to appease? Old patterns are only truly broken when you have formed new ones. I have brought you to me, God tells the people Israel, to serve me in this new way. For every way they will reap and sow and bond and sacrifice a rule, a prescribed method. But rules alone do not heal human hurt. Sacrifices may appease God, but for transgressions between a person and their fellow complicated human being, it takes reaching out and rebuilding on a more intangible plane. Ishmael and Isaac may eventually find some sort of forgiveness for their father and each other when they come together to bury him. But Abraham himself and Sarah, for all the hurts they cause each other over their long marriage, do they ever fully forgive each other? To seek forgiveness, you must recognize that you have done wrong, but also take steps to turn in another direction. As painful and frightening as this can be to do for your own sake, how much more so to approach someone you have wronged and attempt to heal that breach in all humility and vulnerability. Perhaps that's why Maimonides says a beit din of 3 additional people must be brought into situations where the one who has been transgressed upon refuses to be appeased after 3 attempts, to heighten the vulnerability of the transgressor and to demonstrate the sincerity of their regret and desire to put things right by this public legal action. It also reveals how the healing of a breach this painful is more than a private matter between 2 individuals, but important to maintaining the fabric of the community. The work of forgiveness should be hard, should be a reach. Like prayer and mitzvot and any meaningful work, is it ever really done? Do we ever really know we've gotten through? But the next day and the next day and the next present us with chances to keep working, to keep reaching toward getting it right. The words can seem so trite and facile. I'm sorry, I love you. Do not abandon me, my God who saves. But before saying them out loud, the catch in the heart, mind, and throat, the chasm that can open that must be leapt over, knowing we'll screw it up again somewhere, sometime, but needing that chance to keep trying, to keep believing that this little bit, at least, can be mended. Abraham Joshua Heschel teaches that understanding inheres in the doing, not the describing. That doing, too, is riddled with doubt and risk, or else it means and accomplishes little. Faith expresses itself not in passive reliance on God, but through human action, however messy and incomplete. I try to remember this insistence on action and understanding of its incompleteness when I address my own situation, where generations of compounded damage make appeasement complicated and difficult to effect. During these long months of enforced isolation, my mother has entered the early stages of dementia. As her memory fades, she grows more sentimental and fragile. Every moment she remembers has become something she clings to with joy and grief, because she knows the losses that have already come and the greater losses that are coming. But what do I do with my own losses? I am left holding old resentments even as I mourn the loss of the complicated love we bore one another. I remember the times the cost of that love felt too high and the distance I had to put between us for my own protection, even though I knew it hurt her. What do I do with the damage done to my own relationships with my wife and children if I have struggled with my own anger and depression and anxiety, the residue of a lifetime's absorption of the pain of other lifetimes, of their inability and my own to turn away into other patterns. Rage and regret and fear and love all wrapped up together, inextricably woven into the people my mother and I have been. Where does all of this long preoccupation go as we grow old in a world that is dying yet still living? The conceptions I built my adult self around now seem so petty and small. Once I needed them. Now I need to let them go and turn farther out of the narrows, further into the wilderness, towards some newer form I cannot yet see. Do not abandon me, the speaker of Psalm 27 cries out to God, even as they reassure themselves that though my father and mother abandon me, you will take me in. Sure of nothing but a need to reach out towards something that will always be there. From out of the depths, I call to you, Hamakom, to pour my heart into that ultimate, essentially unfillable place. And then I must pull myself up and journey on.